Sorry. Can you hear me? Can you start over again because your microphone is off?
Yeah, last time too.
Yeah.
All right, test. You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, sorry about that. I don't know why. Every time it goes to this new intro, I got this new mic, it shuts off. Anyway, what I was saying is, welcome back, my beautiful people, to STR News Digest, your go-to place for everything related to short-term rental, travel, and the business of hospitality. Today, what I want to do is talk about a couple of things that are important for, one is going to be related to travel, one short-term rental, and then one is for something that you should be on alert for. But mainly we're going to talk about is how technology is reshaping how we travel. And if you're in the short-term rental management business, how we manage properties. Okay. So that's going to be the main focus. But the first story I want to talk about, and I've been talking about this for at least 2 years now, because it keeps getting delayed. And that is Europe's, once again, delayed their, it's ESTA, right? The abbreviation is the European Travel Information and Authorization System. Here's what they're doing. It was supposed to go into effect in this spring. Then it got pushed to the fall. Now it's pushed indefinite. There's no date. And I'm going to read right off the website. And it says here, ESTA is currently not in operation and no application for travel or authorizations are needed at this time. The EU states it on its website. The European Union will inform about the specific date for the start of ESTA several months prior to its launch. Again, right now, they took dates off. It just said postponed indefinitely. I don't know what's going on, but I will say this, that I don't know if anybody's watching has traveled to Europe in the last year and a half, but Europe has been insane to travel to. 1 second, because that looks like how Lorena, how's my video?
Yeah. Your signal just go like a little weird.
Yeah, it looks like it got. Is it back on now or?
No. I'm watching in the TV. It's a little blur.
Yeah, my and I apologize, guys. My internet has been horrible lately. I don't know if anybody has been experiencing issues with their internet, but where I live, it's the signal's always weak. And I have right now, I'm connected directly to the Ethernet. So it looks like it's getting better. And again, I don't know what the deal is with the internet, but there's definitely an issue. But here's what I can say about what's happening in Europe. And I don't know if anybody's traveled to Europe in the last year and a half, but for the anticipation of this quote unquote visa to go to Europe. Now, this really mainly applies to people here in North America, including those in South America, part of South America, but mainly North America, right? That's going to be part of the US and Canada. There's been a lot of issues in the EU right now through their system. So people have been complaining of how long the lines have been and how so many people have missed their flights. Now, this is a reminder, once it's launched, it's going to cost about 20 euros. So for the US, it's going to be $23. And it permits access to 30 European countries. The travel authorization is valid for 3 years or until your passport expires. And green lights short-term stays up to 90 days within a 180-day period. This is when it takes effect. Right now, it's we're back to what everything's normal. There's nothing really new right now, other than the fact that you may still have to go through these designation lines if you don't have an EU passport. And this is which is what's going to be part of the system. It's what they're testing. And the problem is that the lines are insane. I mentioned that when I went to Europe last, I knew about these lines, so I anticipated, so I had a layover. Layover was in Portugal. I got to the airport 3 hours early because I knew it was going to be an issue. So normally I get to the airport 2 hours early. This time I added an extra hour because I knew it was going to be an issue to get through this new system. But anyway, just be aware of that. And again, it's been postponed indefinitely for right now. Now, when it rolls out, again, they're gonna announce this several months in advance. But if you're going to be traveling in 2027, keep looking at the website. Now, the next story is a little scary. The next story is something that you need to be very mindful of, and that is Wi-Fi scams in the airport. So recently, and this just happened. This was just in the news. There was a story that really sounded like a spy movie, right? Authorities are investigating, and I'm going to read off the website for Delta. Authorities are investigating an incident where someone allegedly created a fake Delta Wi-Fi network while they were on board the flight. Some passengers reportedly connected to this road network after being disconnected from the legitimate onboard Wi-Fi. That incident was brought to the attention of the captain of the plane, and they immediately notify FAA of what's happening on board that flight. And when they landed, again, authorities were there, were trying to investigate. Here's what's interesting. A majority of the people, not the majority, it said like a good portion of the passengers had come from a cybersecurity event. So, I don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that the person who did this went to that event. So it's not going to be difficult to track these people down, but you got to be very careful. Here's some of the lessons that you need to be aware of, because this is or at least I've known about this for several years now, but where the incidents have happened is in the airport. So for example, connecting your phone to the charging stations, I never do that. A lot of these charging stations have the ability, or the security on these charging stations are not there. It's not there. There's no security for it. So anybody can attach devices to it. So when you plug in, they can have access to everything you have on your phone. And the same lines, though, this is new. They are mimicking the network so that you can connect to this fake network. Again, be very mindful. I normally carry my own hotspot, so I don't have to connect to that. Use a VPN, but be very careful when you're out in public because of what's happening now. Here's a couple of things to avoid when you're on a Wi-Fi. If you have to connect to like a public Wi-Fi, don't do anything with credit cards or passwords or banking information, because that's basically what they're looking for. And when using public Wi-Fi, make sure that what you're connecting to is legit, right? So just be careful with that. Let's go to story number 3. Story number 3, going back to Airbnb. Man, Airbnb has been in the news for a lot of reasons. And so this past week, Airbnb and Tripadvisor created a partnership. It's probably the biggest story of the week in the short-term rental world, right? Advisor and Airbnb have announced a partnership that will bring Tripadvisor's vast category of tours, attractions, and activities right on the Airbnb platform. And that's going to come into effect later this year. So Q4 of this year, when you go on the Airbnb platform, you're going to see all these tours that are, so Airbnb already has experiences, but experiences are partners or people like, let's say, for example, if I owned a airboat tour here in South Florida, right? I can go on to Airbnb, just like as a host would put their property, I can put my tour on their experience site. They're taking this a step further. What they're doing now is, instead of having their own experience, and all they're doing is partnering up with Tripadvisor, who has 450,000 bookable experience on their platforms, right? And if you don't know, Viator is part of Tripadvisor, so it's the same company. So they're going to have access to that. As a company, that's, Airbnb is, not doing this just to do it. They're doing it because they get a cut of every experience. But they're also doing it because now when you book an experience through their new platform, you're still the Airbnb customer. Whereas in the past, if you didn't book experiences through them and you went directly to Tripadvisor or Viator, you are that experience. You are the customer of Viator or Tripadvisor, not Airbnb. Now, because you're doing it on their platform, you still remain a customer for Airbnb. Again, the goal here, if this is your first time watching the channel and hearing me talk, as a business owner, the goal is always three things, right? Customer acquisition, because without customers, you don't have a business. Return customers. And then the third thing is the control of the customer. If you control that data, then you can get those other two components become easier, because you can retarget those customers to get them to become return customers. Airbnb understands this wholeheartedly. Every business, major business, understands this this component of business, and this is why they're doing this. So you, as a short-term rental operator, again, I'm going to continue to preach this probably until the end of time. You should be focusing on building your brand, getting more direct bookings through your website, and controlling the customer information. That should be your goal. I mentioned in last week's short-term live stream, I mentioned how we are creating a platform that allows us to control every aspect of a travel experience. And more importantly, what we're doing now is, and we're going to touch on this when I talk about the next story, is we're not only controlling it, but we're also using the data to market our properties and market our business. And I'm going to touch on that in a second. But again, this is why it matters. Airbnb wants to become much more than a place to book accommodations. They want it all, right? They want to be just like Booking.com. They're trying to build an entire travel ecosystem. And I just said they want to be more like Booking.com, but I'm going to stand correct. They actually want to do more than that, because Booking, they're going into a lot of different avenues that Booking.com has not touched yet. Like, for example, I just mentioned their services, right? Hiring a barber, hiring a massage therapist. That all comes through the Airbnb platform. So just be mindful of that, because there's opportunities for you, right? You got to ask yourself, how do you become part of the guest entire vacation ecosystem? How do you do that, right? I've talked about this before. One of the ways to do it is to offer things like restaurant recommendation, creating your digital guidebook that your guests can get access to your favorite local coffee shop. People want, when they come to an area, they want to be part of the community, right? They want those hidden gems. You living there, you should know those hidden gems, and you want to partner with those people. You want to be able to get with, like, for example, with us, get with fishing charters, boat rentals, bike rentals, adventure packages. Team up with those companies, get a discount for or a commission, but a discount for your guests, so you can provide them a better guest experience at a lower price point, but you reap the benefits, right? So that's important. Now, story number 4, because the last story I really want to spend some time on, but story number 4 is business travel. And I've been talking about this for a while now. It was like Q2 of 2025 and is continuing to now. Business travel is evolving a lot. So there's a lot of areas and I won't touch on some of the stuff that I talked about in the past, but right now I want to talk about areas in which are attracting a lot of business travel, and I'm going to touch on some of them may surprise you. So, across the board, you're seeing cities in India, for example. More and more people are doing business with India. Now, if you don't know, India is competing with China. The only reason why China right now is still dominating is because of the infrastructure that China has within China. India has the manufacturing capabilities. They have the people. I think I don't know the numbers, but I think they're the second largest country in the world in terms of population, only next to China, and I think they're going to surpass China soon. But what they don't have is the distribution infrastructure that China has. But once they get that, people, India's going to be a strong. It's going to have a strong foothold in business in general. A lot of people are realizing that. So a lot of people are starting to travel to India. India's one. Australia, which this surprised me, is another area in which business seeing a huge increase in business travel. And then within the U.S. market, Fort Lauderdale, South Florida in general, but everybody knows about New York City, L.A. They've always been business hubs. But Fort Lauderdale has seen leaps and bounds when it comes to business travel, and mainly because we're starting to see major companies move to South Florida, specifically Fort Lauderdale. Citadel, for example. I mean, that guy is so pissed off at Chicago and the politics in Chicago and in New York City that he scrapped everything and moved his operations down here. And we're talking billions of dollars, people, coming to South Florida because of how they're being treated. So just keep that in mind. If you're a short-term rental operator, really start marketing and focusing to business travelers, because they're a big segment they are becoming a very big segment of the travel population. And more importantly, they have the funds, they have the money to spend. For a long time, if you've been following this channel, I've been saying this. Every single one of our properties has a workstation, if not a dedicated office in the property for people that come here and they come for business. And you should be doing the same. You should be catering to them. And the reason being, they book further in advance, they stay longer, they spend more money, right? And they often combine, or at least in our case in South Florida, they combine business with leisure. This is why they stay longer, because if they have a 3 or 4 day work event, they'll stay 3 or 4 days for leisure. There's a lot of opportunity there, and I would definitely focus on them. Here's one of the things that you should be doing, one of the things that we do, especially when we get a company that books our property. We immediately reach out to HR, and we tell HR if we can partner with them by providing huge discounts for the company if they use us exclusively. And because we're a bigger company here in South Florida, we can provide that service. I can guarantee, for example, American Express. American Express has a big foothold here, and we have a partnership with American Express. So whenever they have employees come in to their headquarters here in Broward County, we can accommodate them. And because they book far in advance, we'll almost always have a place for them. So you should be focusing on that. All right, the last story I want to talk about and spend some time here is marketing specifically on OTAs themselves. You're going to start to see, now I've already mentioned this, but if this is the first time you're watching this channel, I've already talked about this. A lot of the OTAs now are including or allowing you to upload videos to your properties. We've been doing that the moment. VRBO is the first OTA platform that's done it. And the moment we received authorization to upload videos, we did. And here's the results. In traffic alone, we have seen already more than a 62% increase in traffic. And from bookings, we're about 22% increase in bookings on VRBO. VRBO, because of these videos. Now, here's the caveat. I don't know if this is going to last. And the reason I say that is because we have taken advantage of that. If you go to VRBO right now and do a search, you're still going to see that very few operators, short-term rental operators, are uploading video. If you're watching this, this is a huge opportunity for you. The reason why we're seeing such big numbers, because we're one of the few operators on VRBO right now that if you click on one of our properties, you're going to see our videos. So, and it's not that difficult to do, people. But I predict that by the time Q2 of 2027 is over, every OTA platform is going to be allowing you to upload video, and it's going to become the standard. We already know that video is more important than photos when it comes to marketing. So we're starting to see that in the OTA platforms. VRBO the first, but it won't be the last. And the beauty about videos is because it allows the guest to experience the layout and the workflow and how the spaces actually flows, right? If you go to our properties, or if you go to VRBO and click on one of our properties, it's a model that's taking you and giving you a tour of the property. It's phenomenal marketing, people. And what we did was we tied those videos, and you'll see those videos on our social media, including our YouTube channel. Those same videos are part of our social media. So if you're not on social media, I am telling you that you are missing out tremendously. All right, having said that, before I go into my final thoughts, here's one of the things that and I'm speaking to whether you're looking to invest in short-term rental, whether you're a traveler, or whether you are a property management company or a mom and pop operator, and you're looking to increase your revenue. We are, for the next 2 quarters, we're going to be offering our services technically for free. Here's what I mean by that. If you give us 3 months and we don't improve your revenue or don't take a lot of time off your plate, those 3 months are going to be for free, right? So if you are, I'm going to say this again because this is important, right? If you're currently managing a short-term rental property, or if you're looking to invest in a short-term rental, and you team up with us, whether it is full management or just co-hosting, or just use us to market your property, if we don't make your operations more efficient, meaning take more time off your hands, and or we don't increase your revenue. So here's the fine print, right? When I say increase your revenue, so for example, if it's a co-hosting agreement, we're going to charge 10% of the revenue, right? So if it's a full management, we're charging 15%. But let's just talk about co-hosting. If we don't increase your current revenue to offset our costs, then but we need 3 months because it takes us 3 months to get everything squared away and going. If we don't do that within those 3 months, then you don't have to pay us. Whatever money we took from you in those 3 months, we're going to give it back to you. If you're a traveler, here's what we're doing for you as a traveler. We are it's again almost a similar guarantee. If you come to one of our properties, if the workflow or if your stay isn't to your standard, again, the day you check in, if you tell us, hey, this is not what I expected, you'll get a full refund. All right? I'm gonna repeat that. If you're a traveler and you book a property with us and you get to one of our properties and it doesn't meet your standards, We're going to waive any cancellation restriction and we'll give you your money back. So that's our guarantee to you as a traveler, and that's our guarantee to you if you are a host and you're looking for some help to increase your revenue or just to take time off the table. Those are guarantees to you. So if you're interested in either send us an email or in the comments down below, type in the word partner. Hopefully you have a way for me to reach back to you, meaning you have an account on YouTube that I can direct message you or my team to direct message you. But that's our guarantee to you guys. All right. So here are, let me see. Let me go here real quick. See if we have any questions. Okay. Shit. How can travelers tell if public or in-flight Wi-Fi network actually safe to use? That's a great question, and I don't know the details of this incident that happened in Delta. But it was clear. So that's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. But oftentimes, like for example, on public Wi-Fi, if you go, it's very difficult to tell if you logged into something that isn't legit. This is why I carry my own hotspot, because it's difficult to tell. But what I mean by legit is, for example, if you frequent an area, like for example, I'm a frequent traveler. So when I log into the airport Wi-Fi, my system already knows, like I don't have to put in the password or anything like that because I logged in there before. If it's asking me to do it again, then that's where you have to be really careful and make sure that the actual on the browser, the actual information on the browser is part of what you're trying to log into. Okay. But it's difficult. I highly recommend that. As a property owner, how can Airbnb's partnership with Tripadvisor help me get more bookings? Well, if you're relying on Airbnb, it's not going to help you. I'm bringing that up is because I'm asking you to focus on direct bookings, and through direct bookings, create a system similar to that. Like we are, if you book with us, you're going to get our partners, right? We're going to send you our partners. And we happen to be partnered with Viator. It's the same partner that Airbnb just partnered with. We have that same partnership. But when you book through our website and you click on the Viator link to book your whatever tour or excursion that you're going to take, you're our customer. So it's not like with Airbnb when you do it through Airbnb. So again, just to be clear to this question, if you're on Airbnb, it doesn't help you particularly at all. Now, it helps you if that guest booked your property because that guest is going to have a little bit better experience. But keep in mind, that guest is still the ownership of that customer's Airbnb. It's not really your customer. I want to invest in a city with strong numbers of business travelers. What platform or website would you recommend I use to look at these statistics? I use this all a lot. TSA, people use TSA. TSA is one of the platforms that I use a lot. The other one will be travel. It's called Travel Post or Post Travel. And then the other website is called Skiff. Those are the websites that I use to get data, but your local chamber of commerce will tell you, if there's any convention areas. But if you're in a city where this is starting to grow. So, for example, Fort Lauderdale. One of the reasons why, I kind of already mentioned a few reasons why Fort Lauderdale has become very popular. It's because a lot of businesses are fleeing places like New York, LA, or California, Illinois, right? They're fleeing these liberal states that are not friendly to them. I mean, if you look at every Democrat, every socialist Democrat, what do they talk about? Tax the rich, right? not realizing that these people with money own businesses and employ hundreds, if not thousands of people. There's an interesting article that just came out in the New York Times on how much money New York City lost in the last 2 years. $85 billion they lost, right? I don't know how they're going to keep up their tax base to keep giving free stuff, but that's on New York. That's not my problem, right? But again, going back to some of the signs, Fort Lauderdale is in the Broward Convention Center is being completely redone, and it's huge. Why? Because there are more and more people coming here for businesses. On that note as well, keep track of their events, right? Go to what we do, we go to Broward Convention Center and we look to see when there's going to be a convention. Why? Because let's say, for example, there's going to be a convention on crypto. I'm targeting that crypto community with my marketing to get people to book my properties, just to give you an idea. Anything else?
Not yet. No.
All right, my beautiful people, that's going to be it. Let me see if I have it. Let me just double check my notes. All right, that's going to be it. Just keep in mind, people, that travel is becoming more and more digital, more connected, and definitely more experience-driven, right? I talked about this before as well. The two demographics that I focus heavily on are Gen Z travelers and business travelers. That's the market right now. That encompasses majority of the market. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. Oh, there's something to keep in mind. For the next 2 weeks, we're not going to have a live stream. So that's next Wednesday and the following Wednesday, we're not going to have a live stream. I'm doing some personal stuff. I think I mentioned before, I have to have my hip replaced. So I'm going to have some hip replacement surgery coming up. So we won't have a live for those 2 months, but I'll see you in September. All right. Enjoy your evening.
Hi there. I'm just your average traveler who stumbled upon something extraordinary. Let me tell you about Fernando David. Once a Marine, Fernando traded his uniform for a set of house keys, starting with just one rental property. But Fernando had a dream: to revolutionize how we travel and own property. He founded Dream Vacations by PMI, turning one small rental into a hospitality empire. Fernando's secret? Treating every guest like family and every home like his own. His team mastered digital storytelling, making every trip feel like a blockbuster adventure. Fernando didn't just help travelers. He transformed overwhelmed hosts into thriving business owners. His travel agency bundled beautiful stays with affordable flights, making Dream Vacations a reality for thousands. Whether you're chasing sunsets or returns on investment, with Fernando, you've struck gold. Fernando David isn't just building a business. He's building dreams, one happy traveler at a time.